Today at Anfield, it was about more than just football. It was a day of remembrance, with chants echoing from both ends of the ground for Diogo Jota. We saw children emerging from the tunnel, wearing kits that carried the memory of a lost father. That unique atmosphere made everything feel heavier than usual. Every touch, every gasp from the crowd, and every goal carried a deeper meaning. And amidst this poignant backdrop, Florian Wirtz finally seized his moment. Florian Wirtz arrived at Liverpool with a price tag that made every touch of the ball feel like it was being examined under a microscope. The English media labeled him a blockbuster, a record breaker expected to make an instant difference. But the Premier League didn't follow the trailer script. In his first 15 appearances, Wirtz delivered 0 goals and 0 assists. Arne had to run interference for his player early on. Back in October, he called Wirtz unlucky and pleaded for patience, even citing Kevin De Bruyne as an example of a star who once struggled to find his rhythm in the Premier League before exploding. Later, Slot spoke plainly. People look at money, and they look at goals and assists. But the reality? Wirtz could have easily had 6 or 7 assists if his teammates had been more clinical. That context matters, but it doesn't shield a player from the weekly pressure. Modern football is convenient. People just open an app, check the goals and assists column, and make their conclusion. Wirtz understood this better than anyone. Last week, he finally registered his first Premier League assist against Tottenham. It was a nod, a sign that, I'm still moving forward, but it wasn't enough to silence the most annoying question of all. When will you score? Against Wolves, Liverpool were deadlocked for a long time. Anfield was getting restless. Wolves defended deep, waiting for Liverpool to complicate things for themselves. Then, at the end of the first half, everything exploded in just 89 seconds. Minute 41. Jeremy Frimpong drove down the flank, cut it back, and Ryan Gravenberch placed it home to open the scoring. And before the crowd could even sit back down, Liverpool struck the second blow. Milos Kerkez won the ball back. Hugo Ekitike spun away from his marker and slipped a pass through a gaping hole in the Wolves' defense. Wirtz surged forward, facing Jose Sa rushing out. With a delicate touch, he guided the ball into the net. It wasn't a flamboyant finish, it was the finish of a man hungry for a goal, choosing the safest way to get the ball across the line. The Premier League recorded this as Wirtz's 21st shot of the season, the one that finally turned into a goal after a streak of blanks. It highlighted the core of his issue. It wasn't about failing to get into dangerous positions, but lacking that perfect synchronization between the decisive run and a cold-blooded finish. And that moment finally arrived in the 42nd minute. If you were waiting for a trademark celebration, a pose, a knee slide, or hands cupped to the ears to challenge the critics, it didn't happen. The most valuable part of this celebration was the calmness. Every Liverpool player on the pitch ran to embrace Wirtz, swarming him as he celebrated his first Premier League goal for the club. It wasn't the typical celebration for a goal that doubles the lead, it felt like a collective consciousness. The whole team confirmed that the heavy burden on his shoulders had just dropped. Arne looked at that reaction and said bluntly, I'm pretty sure that's relief for him. He saw it in Wirtz's reaction, and he saw that the squad was genuinely happy for him. When people say Wirtz struggled to adapt, it wasn't just polite talk. The Premier League differs from the Bundesliga in transition speed, the intensity of pressure, and how teams lock down the spaces where a modern, number 10 inches operates. Wirtz is a creative type who needs rhythm and space. In England, space exists for mere tenths of a second. Liverpool itself hasn't been the smoothest environment for a new signing to walk in and freely paint his picture. They are in a squad refresh phase, many new links, many games that must be won under high tension, and some crushing defeats. Wirtz is part of that process. Moreover, he isn't just fighting the opponent, he's fighting the price tag on his forehead. Slot once truthfully said, in football, people judge players by goals and assists, sometimes forgetting everything else they do in a match. But even if the manager says that, Wirtz still lives in a world where a stat sheet awaits judgment every weekend. Therefore, this goal didn't just end a goal drought, it ended an exhausting debate. Is he right for the Premier League? The answer is now clearly, yes. The next part is simply, how many? And how fast? Some goals come when everything is stable, and some come exactly when the team needs someone to step up. Liverpool entered this match missing Mohamed Salah due to AFCON and Alexander Isak due to a broken leg. Those are two sources of goals who can resolve matches out of habit. With them absent, Liverpool needed players like Wirtz to turn influence into numbers. His goal could not have come at a better time. Psychologically, that goal was a latch. If Liverpool wants to steer this season in a positive direction, they need Wirtz to step up from the role of a tempo setter to a match decider. A number 10 at a big club isn't allowed to just play well, they had to finish the story. And he just did that. Wirtz didn't play the victim, nor did he play the hero. He chose to speak straight. I was confident that one day I would score. I knew it would come. And I tried to keep going. He praised the great first half, admitted the start wasn't easy, and mentioned the ambition to stay at the top of the table. No melodrama, no beating around the bush. Wirtz said it was a great feeling to score with the fans around, admitting he wanted to start scoring and assisting sooner. But he had to accept it and keep moving forward. That is the speech of someone who has endured enough pressure to know that complaining helps nothing. Slot, true to his pragmatic style, was happy with the win but didn't hide his annoyance at the periods where Liverpool lost control and their issues with aerial balls. But for Wirtz specifically, he used two words: relief and special. It means he saw the goal's importance, but he also saw Wirtz's performance rise above a single moment. And he emphasized, one goal is not enough. Wirtz will be the first to understand that. It was the ideal reaction, not praising to the point of complacency, nor cold to the point of indifference. If you only look at the goal, you miss the most valuable part. Wirtz lived in this match according to the standards of a playmaking star. 104 touches, 71 out of 84 successful passes, creating 3 chances, the most in the match. He was active in pressing, chasing down defenders when possession was lost. In other words, this wasn't a goal falling from the sky to salvage a bad performance. It was a logical reward for a match where he controlled the rhythm. And that is the strongest form of relief. Wirtz proved that when the goal came, it came as an inevitable result of form, not luck. You cannot separate Wirtz's goal from the emotional context of the match. This was the first time Liverpool faced Wolves since Diogo Jota passed away. Jota had worn the shirts of both clubs. The match carried a consciousness of tribute to Jota's sons, Dinis and Duarte. The 18th and 20th minutes were moments when both sets of fans sang and applauded, honoring the numbers Jota wore at Wolves and Liverpool. Slot called it the way the football world shows how to behave in such moments. In an atmosphere like that, the team rushing to hug Wirtz after his goal carried even more weight. It wasn't just happiness for his first goal, it felt like a reminder that this collective is walking through heavy days. And sometimes, a goal is how football allows people to exhale deeply and move on. To be clear, one goal doesn't make Wirtz an Anfield legend, nor does it make Liverpool an invincible machine. Liverpool played an unconvincing second half, but top-level football sometimes pivots on psychological buttons. Wirtz got his first assist last week, his first goal this week. For a creative signing, that is a very clear sign. The adaptation curve has bent in the right direction. If Liverpool wants their season not to fall into the trap of playing well but lacking a killer, they need Wirtz to maintain this state. And for Wirtz personally, that goal was like a door swinging open. From here, every touch will be scrutinized less with the question, when will he score? And more with, how will he make a difference today? That is a huge shift. It's quiet, but very real. A first Premier League goal is always a massive boost. It is a milestone for a player to tell the league, I am here to face every challenge and shine. For Florian Wirtz, it was also a milestone to tell himself, I've endured enough. Now, it begins. He scored in the manner of a wise man, running into space. One touch, no fuss. He celebrated in the manner of someone who knows the burden is real, letting teammates embrace him. Letting the scream escape naturally. Letting the moment pass like a minor surgery, removing something that had pressed on his chest for months. Wirtz won't live off one goal. And Liverpool won't wait for anyone longer than necessary. The Premier League is a giant grinder. It swallows promises and chews up reputations. Tomorrow, the league will be as cold as it always is. But at least from today, the name Florian Wirtz is no longer hanging next to the words, 0 goals. Anfield saw it in the teammates' embrace, in the roar of the stands, and in his face, a mix of relief and stubbornness. This isn't the ending, it is the end of the hesitation and the first line of a new chapter. And sometimes, That is all it takes for a career in England to truly begin.